Greetings, hockey fans, and welcome back to FSN and continuing coverage of the IJHL. In this feature, we talk about the past, present, and future hockey careers with the Sherwood Metro's dynamic duo of Barrington Duffy and Cale, who finished the regular season 3rd and 4th in league scoring. For Cale, his love of hockey and leadership qualities were passed down right through his genes, while Barrington came to love the game of hockey by playing on the frozen outdoor rinks where highlight reel goals are practiced till you can't feel your toes.
Yeah, probably playing games. I mean, Paul, growing up, being on, with buddies outdoor rinks and whatnot, and like having coaches too that had outdoor rinks that used to bring us on at night, like under the lights and stuff like that. Probably would have been before, like 3 or 4. Yeah. I mean, for me, it was definitely Dad, like a lot, taking us to the early morning, and he would always enjoy going on the away trips as well, but Mom was definitely there too, and it was a dual effort. I mean, growing up, it's not easy, like courting a kid around and, let alone multiple, so it's, I was pretty fortunate to have 2 parents that were, nice enough to do that for me. It was nice to have a brother who was a goalie too. It definitely, helped my cause growing up, but believe it or not, away from the rink, he liked to play out more, so it was kind of funny. But whenever we played on the same team in midget AAA and minor for the Red Devils, I always made sure to give him an extra dig in practice whenever, I'd shelf it on him in shootouts and whatnot. So he was definitely a big help, like growing up, and it was,
He's older, right?
Yeah.
How did you always beat him?
You know what, I could get him going 5-hole quite often, like back and forth, so
I got onto the ice and was probably about 3. My family lives kind of right up the road from Cody Banks, so I remember going over there when I was young, kind of just getting on the ice, my parents and my grandparents, uncles. I started playing pretty much the next year, I believe. Started playing in Sherwood, and then earliest kind of memories of playing kind of start there. Obviously then moved up into novice, some pretty good teams, a lot of good players in that team. But yeah, that's kind of where it all started, was at Cody Banks. And wouldn't be where I am right now without Mom and Dad for sure. Definitely a lot of early mornings, a lot of driving, a lot of busy schedules growing up with 3 boys. So definitely got to thank them. They were the ones lugging me around everywhere, taking me and my brothers kind of all over the island to different sporting events, but they sacrificed a lot for me, and they gave up a lot of their time to help me, so I couldn't really be any more thankful for them. Yeah, growing up with 2 brothers, definitely busy household growing up, pretty busy schedule. Competitive, I think, is probably an understatement. We were pretty cutthroat growing up. The mini stick games in the basements, they got pretty heated. Had a few trips to the hospital because of that, but
What was the worst injury?
My 2 brothers, actually, one of them had stitches right above the eye, and one of them had one right in the head, so those are probably the 2 worst ones.
Backswings on a slap shot, right?
Yeah,
That had to be the backswing,
We'll just leave it at that. Won't go too much into detail there, but definitely, we were definitely competitive with each other. I think it all definitely made us better athletes. I mean, my other brother kind of gravitated towards basketball whenever he was in high school. Played hockey growing up, but gravitated more towards competitive basketball when he got into high school. And then
that'd be Zach.
That's Zach, yeah. And then my other brother Connor, he's playing major midget with Kensington right now. Got a call up with us earlier in the year, which was nice. I never got to play a game with him. Played 1 game with Zach and Bantam, but never got the chance to play any games with Connor because we're 6 years apart. So that was kind of cool to get him up there for a game and get to play 1 game with him. So, but yeah, definitely growing up pretty competitive. Definitely made us more competitive individuals, that's for sure. My grandfather, Hilliard Graves, actually played 10 years in the NHL. Before that, he played junior here in Charlottetown. Played for the old Charlottetown Islanders. Breaking in with California. His rookie year actually had 52 points. I checked today. I believe he was 8th in Rookie of the Year voting. Kind of his first full year in the NHL. So after that, played in California for another couple years. then moved on to Atlanta and traded to Vancouver. Played for the Canucks for a couple of years, and then finally ended up got taken in the expansion draft whenever the Winnipeg Jets, the original Winnipeg Jets, came in the league. Yeah, he was, huge help. Obviously, you play at that high level for that long, you accumulate a lot of knowledge and a lot of expertise. So, he was fortunate enough, and I was fortunate enough to kind of have that. If I ever needed advice, or if I was ever looking to kind of ask him something, he was always there to kind of give me that advice. He didn't miss too many of my games growing up, which was another big help. He could always kind of tell me what I should be doing or what I could be doing a little better. And obviously, the resume he's got, you trust him. He's not kind of bringing that out of nowhere. So yeah, I took a lot of his advice, and then obviously still use a lot of the advice that he's given me. So kind of unfortunate. They're over in him and my grandmother. They're over in Halifax right now. They got stuck over there during the pandemic, so he actually hasn't seen any games this year. So, but they've been kind of following along, and we've been chatting about hockey. So I know he misses it, but hopefully he'll get back into the rink here soon.
Even though Barrington and Cale grew up playing in different minor hockey associations, their journeys would become intertwined throughout their playing days. From joining forces in spring and summer hockey to battling each other in big games throughout their minor hockey, one thing is certain: success would follow both.
A picture on your Facebook. I don't know if it was staged or if it happened in a game where you're shooting the puck between your legs right in front of the goalie there. Was that staged, or did that happen in a game?
No, absolutely not. No. Well, yeah, I did do that in a game. Yeah.
Wow.
It was
How
little
old were you?
Probably like 8 years old. I have no idea. Yeah.
You did it in junior once too.
A little while ago, yeah.
So you executed it. Did you score on it, or did you miss?
No, I didn't score on it. I actually hit the crossbar. So yeah.
Wow, that is pretty incredible.
Growing up watching Crosby do all those crazy edge work. I mean, he's pretty advanced in his skating. He's pretty next level. His legs are huge. He skates like the wind. I like being in Pownal. We had some pretty tough years growing up, but other than that, I think we had one decent year in Bantam, and it was, we went over to the SO Cup, played against some guys like, Luke Green, who, ended up getting drafted to the show. And yeah, that year we actually had Shane McCachran as our coach. He played a couple games in the NHL. He was pretty insightful. We had a good group of guys. We ended up playing Western in the finals. I think we went to 4 games, I believe, and yeah, that was pretty well the first time like any team I've been on in Pownal's ever won a championship. So it was a lot of fun. Pretty busy year. There was a lot of guys on that team that were pretty driven and motivated. Connor Gray was a player on that team. Colin Keown was another big contributor, and Grant Keown as well. And
I've actually won it twice. I won it my first year novice. We won it, I think that was in 07 or 08, and then my first year midget, which was in 2015. We ended up winning the tournament. We had a lot of good players in that team. A lot of guys that ended up playing Junior B. We actually beat Pownal on the way to the final, beat them in overtime in the quarterfinals.
I didn't want to bring that up.
Yeah, not to bring up a sore memory here, but yeah, we ended up beating Pownal in overtime in the quarters, and kind of before that, earlier in the year, we'd lost in the finals to the Monctonians. So going into that tournament, we were pretty hungry for a tournament win. And we had already been to the finals. We could get back there, so had a good round robin in that tournament, and almost ended up being knocked out. I believe he had a breakaway in overtime. Yeah. Luckily for us, ended up beating them, and then ended up playing Charlottetown in the finals, and that was quite a game. That was probably one of the better games I've ever been a part of. It was 2-2 right up until 30 seconds left, and Riley Duffy buried one with about 30 seconds left, and yeah, that was pretty cool. Definitely one of my better memories of Falcon for sure.
Yeah, I play rugby with the UPI team, and it didn't run last year obviously because of COVID, and I play a little bit of Mudman too, which is the club here in Charlottetown. Our A-side team actually won the Mid-Atlantic Championship, and we were fortunate enough to go to Guelph to a national, so it was a good year all all around. Yeah.
Has UPEI ever done that UPEA for rugby?
No, it was first year ever. So it was, yeah,
Excellent.
it was a good year. Yeah, I was lucky enough to get a stretch pass and went down to the blue line on, I think Maverick is his name, and tried to tuck it short side. He stopped it, went back in the corner. Was lucky enough again to get it out, from a pass from the corner. And quick little toe drag, and I stuffed it in. So it's, yeah.
Perfect.
Nice goal.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a beauty.
Pretty nice.
It's always fun to reminisce, but sooner or later, this circuit breaker will be switched, and it'll be time to hit the ice for round 1 of the playoffs versus their bitter rivals, the Kensington Vipers. Unfortunately, unlike all previous years for these two, there is no next junior year.
Craig has been around, I guess, for 2 years now, and he definitely brings a lot to the team. His wealth of experience that he's played at the university level and at the QMJHL level, and I've always heard lots of good things about his work ethic as a player, and I think he definitely translates that over to coaching for sure. So
Yeah, Craig's definitely meant a lot to the group this year. With kind of the amount of change that we've had this year from last year, and some of the guys that we've brought in, probably hasn't been the easiest thing to kind of get us to gel together. But Craig's one of those guys. He knows how to bring the best out of everybody. He knows how to manage the 20 guys and knows how to get the best out of everyone. So I think that combined with, as B said, kind of the wealth of experience that he brings to the table has definitely helped us kind of gel as a team and gotten the best out of us for sure. And I think we were definitely playing our best hockey before the break, and he definitely had a lot to do with that for sure. It's going to be tough, and we know that. We know what kind of team they are, and we know how we stack up against them. But we know it's going to be a tough series. They're a pretty physical hockey team. But yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, especially coming off this kind of extended break that we've been going through. We're going to have to adjust pretty quickly to the kind of the pace and the physicality of playoff hockey. So it's going to be probably going to be tough first few minutes of the game 1 to kind of get going. But we got to find a way to settle in pretty quickly, because playoff hockey's a different beast, and you got to be ready. You got to bring it your all, and I know we have the team to do that. I mean, we made some good acquisitions there halfway through the year, got some new players to kind of fill out our roster, and yeah, I think we have the team to get the job done this year.
I mean, obviously, this year we have a pretty good team to do it, and last year was pretty unfortunate getting things, I guess, cut off from COVID, but as far as this year goes, we're going to do everything we can to, I guess, compete and see what happens at the end of the year.
I think it just try to lead by example. I think that's the biggest thing. I think if you're working your hardest and you're doing everything you can to help the team, I think it should be pretty easy for guys to kind of follow along. I mean, that's the leaders that I had growing up, like the captains that I had. That's kind of what they did. They led by example, and especially kind of when we got into junior, especially I think our first couple of years, it was you see all these overage guys that are they're done after this year, and you want to put everything on the line for them. So that's kind of how I try to lead, just by example. And I think this year especially, with it being kind of our last year, we want to put it all on the line this year. This is our last shot at it, so we're trying to give it our all out there, and we're trying to lead the best we can. So
no matter what happens in this year's playoffs, I can assure you that the investment made by Greg, Cheryl, Derek, and Karen in these young boys that started many years ago has paid dividends. The countless 6 a.m. practices, the long and never-ending road trips, the forgotten neck guards are all but forgotten now. What stays is the friendships, the bonds, the hard work, and sense of accomplishment, and most importantly, playing the game they love.
I think that like hockey and any sport, really, like a team sport, you definitely develop attributes and characteristics for sure. Leadership is definitely one of them, like teamwork, like working together, I find is one of the biggest things that, you know, I can carry over to like a school career or even for work too. Those would be the two biggest ones for me, I'd say.
A lot of stuff you learn from hockey you can take into life. So, you know, hockey's been providing me a lot of benefits for sure. It's more just kind of the personal stuff you learn along the way. You know, the work ethic, the commitment, the determination, that stuff. I think that's gonna carry me further in life than soft hands or being a good passer ever will.
I mean, I haven't really thought that far, obviously, but you know, my buddies do play rec, so I do plan on playing rec.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe a coach down the road. It's something that I've been interested in, but we'll see what happens, you know, in the future.
Yeah, just kind of see what happens. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'd like to stay in the game somehow, whether that's as, you know, coach and manager and doing some work with Sherwood Minor Hockey or another minor hockey association. But yeah, I'd like to stay in the game somehow.
Maybe ask you that question again in a year.
Yeah, maybe. That might be a better question to ask a year from now.
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing for me would be, you know, a sense of competition. You know, being able to compete and still play in like an organized game. But most importantly for me would be, you know, the team environment, like being around a team and just hanging out with your buddies. That's probably the most beneficial thing for me that I enjoy the most.
I'd say just the competition and the camaraderie. I mean, for people that maybe don't follow the league as closely, you know, they might maybe not think too much about it, but you know, it's a pretty competitive league, and it's a good league for kind of guys like us that, you know, go to school and have some other aspirations besides hockey. But you know, it's still a competitive league, and I think I'm gonna miss that a lot. And kind of like you alluded to, just the camaraderie with guys, you know, being a part of that team, you know, going to practice every Monday night at 9:30 and zooming around the ice with your buddies. I think that's the big one that I'm gonna miss for sure.
Well, can't thank you guys enough, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, I can't predict how their junior careers will end, but I can assure you that whatever they choose to do after junior, I have no doubt absolutely they will be successful. I can't thank Barrington and Cale enough for joining me. You guys did tremendous. Good luck in the future to the both of you. Reporting for FSN, I'm Jeremy McDonald. Thanks for watching.